of the best days on set that we had in season 2 was actually spread over like 4 days in that chapel exercising Chucky. Everyone was involved in it, so it was an opportunity to really work with all of our friends together. Now, besides the fact that the room was 200 degrees easy, there were camera lights. It was in the middle of the summer in the most humid week of the year, and we had 200 candles lit around us.
And candles, so many candles that the crew that were wearing masks, their masks were black. Their masks were black in the front from breathing in candle smoke.
Yeah.
It was a chapel. It was a real chapel. So.
And I was in a polyester jumpsuit with a dirty wig and beard.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a rough day, but it was still.
It was a rough 4 days.
Rough 4 days, but still about as fun as it got because we were all working together.
And we got to say the power of Christ compels you infinity of times. Because I would all say, no matter whose shot it is, no matter who they're shooting, we're all saying it off camera. Like, power of Christ compels you for a whole day.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Wow.
And this is what the first panel of the weekend looks like. Everybody's in traffic.
Yeah,
getting here slowly.
Yeah.
But it looks like, hey, we have a fourth. Please, you can feel free to come to the front row.
Yeah, you're welcome to.
VIP seating for everyone.
It's a mandatory front row panel.
Yeah, so far.
All right. My name is Kyle. I have the honor of moderating these two legends. We have Alex Vincent and Christine Elise. Give them a big round of applause.
Oh, thank you.
No, please, no.
Yeah.
Please, all of you, sit back down.
Guys.
No, really, guys.
How about this? What are all your names, since there's only 4 of you?
Yeah, what are your names?
German.
German?
All right.
Are you in fact German? Okay.
That's hilarious.
Beautiful irony there. What's your name again? You just told me. Richard, right? That's right. Rob?
Can you hear him?
Can you hear us?
Herman.
Vernon? He's German.
He's German.
He's German.
German?
There's two Germans.
He is
How
German.
often does that happen?
All right.
Wow.
So we are going to actually, this panel is for you, so we're going to definitely want you guys to shout out some questions. But before we get to that, I do want to ask a couple of my own.
Go for it.
Please do.
And realize there is a SAG strike going on, so we need to tread carefully about what we talk about. But Alex, you were actually in an independent film that I don't think was SAG, and I was in it too, The Dark Military. Do you remember that?
Barely.
Barely, okay.
I think my involvement in that was I was in a hotel room. Was that the one where I had a phone call or something? And it was in black and white, oddly, out of nowhere?
I don't know why it would be black and white.
I don't know why either. Yeah, that was more like, hey, we're at a convention. Can we film a little scene with you? And I said yes.
That was very nice of you. I got killed like super fast. So
Oh, that's
it's all
fun.
good. Have either of you had a larger part in any independent films that you can talk about?
Christine's been in plenty, yeah.
I've done a lot. I did a trilogy. I mean, the first two of a trilogy called Route 30 and Route 32, and there's a Route 33. I recommend you find them somewhere on the interwebs. They're really great. They're shot in Pennsylvania. They're shot in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, which is not too far from here, outside Gettysburg. We can talk about stuff a little bit. We just can't talk about the TV show.
What TV show? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Honestly,
but you can't talk about Friends.
Honestly, none of you have a camera pointed at us, so whatever the fuck you want to know.
We have a camera
5
pointed
of us
at
here.
you.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah, we don't like getting anyone in trouble, but the crowd is multiplying. We're up to 6.
All right,
more are incoming.
You can ask questions about what you want to ask, and
Yeah, it's just a few of us. If there's anything in particular
ask anything you want.
All right. Well, I have very general questions.
Go ahead.
And actually, this is kind of looking for a story. You've both been in a number of productions. Could you describe, can you remember what like a best day on set was for you?
I could say that one of the best days on set that we had in season 2 was actually spread over like 4 days in that chapel exercising Chucky. Everyone was involved in it, so it was an opportunity to really work with all of our friends together. Now, besides the fact that the room was 200 degrees easy, there were camera lights. It was in the middle of the summer in the most humid week of the year, and we had 200 candles lit around us.
And candles, so many candles that the crew that were wearing masks, their masks were black. Their masks were black in the front from breathing in candle smoke. Yeah. It was a chapel. It was a real chapel. So.
And I was in a polyester jumpsuit with a dirty wig and beard.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a rough day, but it was still.
It was a rough 4 days.
Rough 4 days, but still about as fun as it got because we were all working together.
And we got to say the power of Christ compels you infinity of times. Because I would all say, and no matter whose shot it is, no matter who they're shooting, we're all saying it off camera. Like, power of Christ compels you for a whole day.
All right, did you feel closer to God after that scene?
Honestly, yes. Yeah.
I'm going to go no.
Okay. Well,
different strokes or different folks. If you guys have questions, feel free to raise your hand. If you prefer not to shout, you can come to the edge of the stage and use the microphone. Because unfortunately, we don't have somebody wandering around like Donahue. And if you get that reference, you're pretty old.
Don't be shy. Come on up.
Shout them out.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, come on up right here. I will let you use my microphone. You guys.
Don't be shy. Ask a question.
I have plenty, but I'd rather have you guys come on up.
There you go. Ask a question.
All right.
So the first Child's Play played it pretty straight. It was like, a straightforward horror film. Do you think it was for the best that it kind of took a bit of a left turn and went more horror comedy?
It was absolutely for the
best.
Was
it for the best that Child's Play 2 went more into comedy than Child's Play 1? Yeah, that's the question.
Do you think like it's more sustainable now that it has a little more humor injected
Is
into
it more sustainable to have a mix than to just go straight horror? Is the question, just so they can hear you.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely, yes. The premise of it was borderlining absurdity from the very beginning. I think if we tried over 35 years to play it straight and convince you that a 2-foot doll's chasing after you and going to kill you, you guys would have given up a long time ago.
I totally agree with that. I think the absurd nature of the premise, just the basic premise, requires a little bit of tongue-in-cheek and a little self-awareness to take the stink off how ridiculous the premise is. Also, I'm always surprised when people are offended by the comedy elements, because the biggest comedy element the show has, or the franchise has, is Jennifer Tilly. And I don't think anybody wants a world where Jennifer Tilly is not in it, least of all the Chucky franchise. So I think the comedy is really important. And whether you're a fan of Bride and Seed that are really comedy heavy, or the previous and latter films that have a lighter mix of comedy still has to be there, I think. Otherwise, who can't defeat this little 3-foot thing,
Yeah. It's interesting, though, that the first film only had one joke.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it is?
Fuck.
No, I mean, all right, that was like a pun. Okay, I'll give you that as a close second. But no, it was in the elevator. Ugly doll. Fuck you. And the reaction that got from the audience must have helped.
Clearly, it was
the movement towards some more jokes.
Yep.
Please come on up.
What was your reaction when you first met Brad Dourif when you were a child?
What was the reaction when you first met Brad Dourif as a child?
Well, mine's really short, and then Christine can tell hers, because I was really, really young. I was 6. I just remember meeting him, and he had long hair, but there's footage of him like acting out as Chucky with me and Catherine, and honestly, I have no memory of that.
For me, I was already a huge fan. I'm a cinephile. I was a big fan, obviously, of Cuckoo's Nest and also of Wise Blood and other projects that Brad had been in. So I was completely starstruck when I was cast and then asked to come in to rehearse with him. And so just in an office on the lot at Universal, I went in there and shook his hand, and then we ran our lines. Because he records all of his dialogue before we shoot a single frame of the movie. So he needs to know what I'm going to do so he can have an idea of how he should be talking back to me. And so I was completely starstruck, and he intimidates me to this day. He's so sweet and so lovely, and I'm so ridiculously still starstruck that I feel like I have to tell him who I am. Still, I'm like, I'm Christine. I was in Child's Play too. I really am so afraid of him, and I don't know why, because he's really nice.
Well, that's great. I haven't had the opportunity to meet him. Alex, though, you worked with someone else in that film. I don't know how much interaction you had with him, but he's definitely a legend. Chris Sarandon, do you have any memories of him?
Chris I remember a lot. I mean, we had scenes together. Brad was there for like a week before filming. I remember Chris. I remember hanging out in his trailer with his daughters and him. I remember working with him on set. I went and saw Fright Night before I made Chucky, Child's Play, the first one, to get an idea of who the actor I'd be working with was. And that was the first horror film that I actually ever saw. First topless woman I ever saw, I think, too. But 'cause that's a big scene in that.
That's scarring, yeah.
Yeah, both things scarred me dramatically.
Yeah.
I thought I heard a question. Any other questions? Come on up.
Don't be shy, yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you absolutely. We don't put a limit. In fact, if you get 5, you get a free sub.
So when you were approached to do the TV series, were you initially a little skeptical? Were you thinking like, could this really work as a show? Because the show is great. I love it. I'm sure all these other people love it. But was there like some doubt in the beginning that this could actually work as a show?
In Dawn, we trust. So no. Getting it on the air, we were skeptical about the process of, making that happen. But no, I knew that it would be pulled off. Now, I will admit that I couldn't even possibly fathom how great it actually became. In all of my imagination, I didn't expect to love the show as deeply as I do, because I really do.
I think there's a misconception that actors say no to work. If somebody offers you a job, you take it. And you take it. I mean, I did Matlock, I did Father Dowling Mysteries, I did shows that, of course, they're not my taste in television, but I need to pay my rent, and I'm an actor by trade, so I make my living acting. So I would never say no to a job. The only 2 reasons that I would say no to a job is nudity. I'm too shy for nudity. I don't judge other people doing it. I just can't do it. And if the project is embarrassing on some level, other than that, I'm making a living as an actor. It's a big win. And then when the person who's inviting you to make a living is like part of your extended family, which Don Mancini is, and Jennifer is, and he's like actually family. It's just a big fucking yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I want the show to last for 10 years. I want a job forever with these people. So, and I know that people were skeptical about the TV show, versus the franchise, because they were afraid Chucky wouldn't swear as much, or the violence wouldn't be as intense. I think we've disproven those, or put those fears at bay. But yeah, really, as an actor, you say, especially an actor at my level, I mean, I'm not, Margot Robbie, so if somebody offers me a job, I say yes.
Definitely. One of the most honest answers you probably heard from actors. We like to work. Any other questions? If not, I do have a question. Oftentimes, I hear tales that your screen partners might try to get you to crack up while you're trying to do a line. Does that happen a lot on the shows that you've been in? It doesn't have to just be Chucky related.
Well, in our case, it is Chucky trying to make us break. because the puppeteers have fun with him. So, yeah, that happens.
Do they succeed?
Sure.
In my experience, it happened a lot on Beverly Hills 90210, but that sort of shenanigans really is dependent upon the tone of the set. That's if we're going late and the crew and the producers are tense and there's no fucking, you don't fuck around because you don't want them mad at you. If things are going well and going fast and it's a playful set, that can happen, and it does happen, where you try to make somebody break. And 90210, God bless it, but it wasn't, Schindler's List. So you're not doing some super heavy material, you're doing sort of, teenage high school television material. So there's room for playing, but not all sets are that way.
Right. I've heard some sets are very
how many
serious.
of you did see the episode on Wednesday? All right. Well, no spoiler in this, but there was, except for one line that I'll share, but so the way they shoot stuff, they'll get a wide where whoever's in the scene is kind of in it, and then they go in for coverage. So in a scene that I had, they did the wide shots, they did my coverage, then they flipped it around to Chucky. And I have a line that I delivered off camera, and I say, killing is wrong. And the puppeteers, this wasn't in the script, they decided to do it right there. And I go, killing is wrong. And Chucky rolls his eyes like that. And I didn't know he was going to do that. And they're filming, and I was visibly cracking up, but like holding my mouth shut, because it was right in front of my face, and it was so fucking funny. Like,
that's like
they nailed it.
Chucky ad-libbing. Who knew he could even do that?
Well, and they had said on a take, like, oh, maybe make his eyes roll, but I didn't see him do it. I didn't know what it was going to look like. And I say, killing is wrong. And he goes, and I lost it.
How much improv do you do on the show? Is it usually word perfect, or do they really encourage you to, input?
Yeah, I don't do much ad-libbing. I just rewrite the dialogue to suit me sometimes when it works, and when Don agrees that it was a good change. But no, I don't ad-lib too much. I think, like, the truth is that Andy's scenes are almost always not funny, so I don't really have the room to do as much. I think the scenes with, like, Jennifer and some of the lighthearted, like Jennifer, I think improvs a whole lot. I think that's really the style she brings to a lot of scenes. I haven't gotten to work with her like that to see it, but yeah, I don't do much.
I don't either, and when you're with the doll, you really can't improv with the doll, because his dialogue is kind of written in stone. So if you improv a thing and there's a comeback he needs and it hasn't been written, and it's just like it's not like an organic two people riffing. It's harder. And Jennifer, of course, is a brilliant ad-libber, and I'm sure a lot of what you're seeing her do is hers.
That's good to know. Again, please come up. You can get a third question.
Don't be shy. You can just yell it. You're next.
Do you think, would you get on a project with Chucky? Where would you cross the line? Like, let's say Chucky had a crossover with Leprechaun, or he went to outer space. Would you say, nah?
He asked if there'd be a crossover, if we would be on board with the idea of a crossover. So,
like, if Chucky, what would be the line where we'd say no? Chucky versus Leprechaun, Chucky goes to outer space. When would you say no?
Yeah. Again, you take work when you can get it, so there's that consideration. But as far as, like, there are plenty of ideas that I don't think they should ever do. I don't think there should ever be a Chucky versus Leprechaun. That sounds not good to me. But, I think Chucky and Freddy would be the best matchup.
That would be the best mashup. But again, my answer is work, and so if I don't have to get naked, I'm fucking doing it. So.
Chucky
versus Leprechaun. Chucky versus Leprechaun is everybody's favorite idea because of the size situation. I think it's such an obvious mistake. Dawn, I know that Dawn, if he had to do a mashup, Dawn would do Freddie as well. And you can't do Michael and you can't do Jason because they don't talk. You need somebody who's a wit, a master of wits. And Freddie and Chucky both are. So I could see how they would have a mutual, admiration society.
Yeah, I think when Freddie dreams, he dreams of Chucky.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Chucky on the Muppet Show. I think that would be a hell of an episode. Any other questions, please? We had one over here. Come on up, Chris.
Apologies if I'm bringing up an unpleasant situation or memory. I love all the Child's Play movies, but my least favorite is by far the third one. So I was curious, was that something you guys were ever had a meeting on, or did you think at that point, like, wow, I guess I'm done with this franchise, or I guess this franchise is done? Like, what were your thoughts when the third film came out?
The question was, Child's Play 3, did we have meetings about it, and what was our reaction to finding out we weren't involved? That was the question.
Yeah, it was the beginning of my abandonment issues that have continued. That's just a cute answer, honestly. No, it was disappointing. It was disappointing. I was 10. I was hoping that I would be in the next one when I found out they were making one. And then, but it all worked out in the long run, so it's all good.
Yeah, and I'm coming back to the all actors want work. Like we were in Child's Play 2. We did very, very well, and you think, oh my God, I'm not only am I working as an actor, but now I'm like in a hit, and it's going to be a sequel, and of course I'm going to be in it, and I won't even have to fucking audition for it. I got a job because getting a job you don't have to audition for is like winning the lottery, and so yeah, I think both of us were hurt and somewhat embittered by that. And but it was inevitable. They had to age his character up, and then once they'd done that, there's no place for my character in that story. So, and it did work out. Don't be sad-faced. It worked out in the long run.
Yeah, there's no sad. It worked out perfectly.
We're still sitting here, and the TV show exists, and they invited us back into the family. So it's all good.
Well, if we're not, then you shouldn't be at this point.
Yeah, that's a good question, though.
They course corrected later on. Again, if you have questions, come on up here.
Or just yell it out if you're too shy to come up. She's not shy.
She's not shy. She's a queen.
Okay, I have a question for both of you.
Right up in your face.
Yes, I'm sorry. Both the same question. Did you ever have any roles that you felt were life-changing in your career at all? And what were they?
Chucky. That's basically the only role I've ever done. So for me, that's a very simple answer.
I would have to go with 90210 for me because even though Chucky was before 90210 and was successful, I never got recognized for it on the street. My auditions didn't improve necessarily. The quality or frequency of them didn't change, which is weird in hindsight. They should have. I must have had a bad agent. But 90210 was different. That was a phenomenon in season 2 when I got on it. Like malls, people were being stampeded in malls and shit, And I had that really distinct look with the short white hair. And so, yeah, I mean, I suddenly saw my own face on teen magazine covers and I was, that was a lot. That was my first taste of any kind of fame thing. So, yeah, it was. How long was I working before I got that job? I became an actor in like 88, and I did Chucky in 89, and I did 90210 in 91. So not pretty fast, actually. And I played 17 for like 10 years, even though I was 24 in Child's Play 2 and 26 in 90210, but I played 17 for a fucking long time. Yeah, thank you.
Feel free to come on up. I do have a quick question, though. You can come up. You can go first if you want.
No, you can go first.
All right, I'm going to go first. You spoke of auditions and how avoiding them is always a good thing. Is there a memorable audition, whether you got the role or not, that stands out in your head?
Yeah, definitely for me. I auditioned for a film called Little Man Tate, and Jodie Foster directed it, and she was there in the casting room in the audition. and I embarrassed the shit out of myself. That's the short version of it. But I knew who she was, and I think it added pressure. And I got nervous and started telling stupid lies. And I walked back to my mom's car like, well, this one we're not getting.
I think my most memorable one was for a very short-lived show called The Strip. It's Vegas Strip, and it's starring Sean Patrick Flannery. And I went in and did the audition and to play a cop or a detective or something. And the guys, back then, anyone that wanted to be involved in the casting process had to physically be in the room to watch you audition. Now it's all done by videotape. But then they had to be in the room. And one guy was like falling asleep. And so I did the thing, and they're like, okay, thank you, that was great. And I stand up and go, dude, I hope I didn't fucking put you to sleep. And they were like, that's the attitude we want. Do it again with that attitude. And I did it again with a snarky, and I got the job. But I wouldn't have gotten the job had I not been an asshole. So
Sometimes you got to channel
sometimes
your inner
being an asshole is the right way to go.
All right, Chris, come on over. We know you got a question.
You opened a jar of worms by talking about 90210. It's one of the other things I love as much as Chucky. So if Chucky were to show up at the Peach Pit, who's the first character that gets killed?
If Chucky shows up at the Peach Pit in Beverly Hills 90210, you need to turn that camera off. I'm not answering the question. On camera. Fucking Kelly's going down. Kelly is going down.
Unless he recognizes, Emily. Maybe it would trigger some weird alternate universe memory.
So there's a fantasy we have of Tiffany Valentine being distantly related to Emily Valentine. And so we want Don Mancini at some point to have Tiffany go, oh, my cousin Emily is coming to town.
Yeah, that would be great.
So.
All right, does anyone have one last question? A good one?
Come on up. You're not quite getting a sub, but still, good effort.
So my favorite is Child's Play 2. What's your favorite, least favorite, and why?
Of the films? Well, my least favorite is part 3 because of the fact that we weren't in it, and
we covered that territory.
We covered that already. You're what?
The least favorite scene.
You want to know my least favorite scene
From the
of all
whole
of it?
franchise?
Oh, your least favorite is Seed?
Oh, his least
Go
favorite.
back and rewatch it. It's pretty great.
Seed actually was ahead of its time.
When's
It
the
holds
last
up.
time you watched it?
Watch
That's
it
the
again.
problem. It was so ahead of its time
Yeah.
that it was confusing to a lot of people.
Yes.
Honestly.
We're not being funny.
No, for real. If you see it again, you'll feel very different.
Yeah.
And my favorite is part 2. I couldn't answer that differently at the moment, even if I wanted to.
Yes, he could, because
I
my
know,
favorite is Cult.
I'm just fucking it.
I like Cult of Chucky the most, so I'm a
Yeah.
Cult fan. So, 3, of course.
But see, that's because I'm a fan of her and she's a fan of me. So
Not everyone.
not everyone, but I love
Seed and
Cult
3
also.
Seed and 3 are always in competition for everyone. And Child's Play 2 and Child's Play 1 are kind of in competition for the favorite. Child's Play 2, I think,
Bride.
overwhelmingly.
And Bride.
I think Child's Play 2, though, is if you took a poll of all fans, Child's Play 2 would win the popularity contest. But I really like Cult.
Yeah, I did too. All right, so we are at our tables all weekend.
Yes, please
So if you
give
didn't
them a
ask
round of
question
applause.
Here,
No round
you
of
can come
applause.
ask
And visit
there.
them.
Yes.
They have more stories to tell.
Thank you, guys.
This is Ray Santiago, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Please watch, like, and subscribe, or else we'll find you and you'll die.